Good evening. So we're going to be doing a review, and tonight we're going to try and review the massive kit, which is the flower class Corvette. We'll have a look at that in a moment. Now I'm probably going to do, because the kit is so big, I'm going to change my approach to the way I do the review. The booklet that comes with it for your instructions is quite thick. I normally go through every page on the book and we look at the steps step by step. I'm probably not going to go into too much detail with that because I don't know anything about ship parts or anything like that, so it would be pointless me making stuff up. So I think first of all, we'll look at the box, then we'll have a quick look at the instructions, and then we will start looking at the plastic, but there's quite a lot. Yeah, so you'll have to bear with this. This may end up being a two-part review. We'll see. Right, let's get to it. So I'm going to have to move out a bit for this. This was sent to me. I didn't, I didn't ask for this. I didn't say, "Oh, give me that." I was talking to somebody, and we were talking, and we came up to the subject of the Snowberry, and I said how much I loved the Snowberry. And really didn't expect him to give me one. Incredible, absolutely incredible. It turned up on the door the very next so it took 3 days because it was a weekend, and I got it on the Tuesday. I'm still speechless over this. This is absolutely incredible. I've never been given something so expensive before. Especially of somebody that I've never met as such outside of YouTube, but I'm immensely grateful. I'm immensely grateful for anyone that gives me items for the channel. It's really is a great feeling when people are that they have that much sort of faith in you. Anyway, so let's have a look at this. It's a big box. It's heavy. I don't know the exact weight, but I'll just hold it up there for you. This is the Platinum Edition. I don't know if my microphone's going to pick me up clearly from here. It's kit number 05112. It's a flower class Corvette. The flower class, that just means each of these ships is named after a flower. We have the HMS Snowberry is the famous one that everyone knows, but there are many others. There's even one called HMS Candytuft. I was looking them up today, and yeah, they are beautiful ships. They were escort ships during World War II, so they were used to escort products initially only 300 miles offshore, and then they had to come back, and then the merchants were left to carry on their journey unescorted until they came within 300 miles of Canada, where they were met by other Corvettes. They were quite well armored for a ship that size. Primarily, they dealt with submarines. They also had anti-aircraft guns on them. They had depth charges, and submarine attacks were quite a regular thing in World War II. There were many different tactics. I mean, I could spend hours going through what I've picked up in the past few days, getting ready for this review. So I researched the ship, and there's so much information. They've done so much in the war. Without it, I think England would have been in a much weaker position, because we wouldn't have had, even though we were rationed, a lot of that stuff struggled to get through. And if it weren't for the Corvettes, none of it would have gotten through, because they would have been picked off. Because they had very little or no sort of defense. And these guys pretty much ruled the waves, I think, when it comes to escorting ships. So we'll just have a quick look on the side of the box. We've got some writing here. You're not going to see it because it's too far away. I'll read it to you. It just says, the corvettes of the Flower class will be associated forever with the Battle of the North Atlantic. Even though they were used in all theatres during the Second World War, alongside other escort vessels, they bore the main brunt of the battle against German submarines. Sorry, I was just reading a message that just came out. These escort vessels derived from the cooperation between the Royal Navy and the Smith Stock Company, who in 1938 had at their disposal a successful design for a commercial whaling ship called Southern Pride. The main feature of this design was that it followed merchant shipping practice, could easily be built by many small shipyards, and the engines could be handled by civil shipyards. 60 corvettes of the Flower class had been ordered before war broke out, and a further 81 by the end of 1940. The first ship was completed 5.5 months later, on the 24th of the 1st, 1940. All the others could be built within 23 days after the decision had been taken to use the corvettes not just as coastal escorts, but on the high seas. Numerous alterations were needed, thus the ships received a modified hull with a longer foreship, giving them much better thrust and overhang to protect them against the rough Atlantic seas. During the war, the corvettes were equipped with other things such as radar, improved and more powerful anti-aircraft guns, FLA MG or 20mm Oerlikon guns, more depth charges, and from the end of 1941 with Hedgehog anti-submarine weapons. During this period, numerous alterations were also made to the bridge in order to accommodate new electronic equipment and protections. In the meantime, the Flower class proved to be thoroughly seaworthy, so that it was used by almost all Allied navies, a total of 265. In the spring of 1942, when the German submarines transferred their sphere of operation to the American coast, the US Navy found itself obliged to make up its shortage of suitable escort vessels with British corvettes. 10 corvettes were given to America, with a further 8 from Canada. So for anyone that wants to know, the water displacement is 940 tons. Power plant is 4-cylinder triple expansion Scotch boilers. The power is 2,750 SHP. I'm not sure what the is. Something horsepower. I don't know. Speed 16 knots. Range 4,000 miles at 12 knots, and it runs on a crew of 47 men. Wow. That's a lot of information on there. So there we go. You've got the little platinum bit there, which tells you basically get a lot of extras: wooden deck, rope, chain, barrels. The barrels are metal, brass, and so on. It's got 1,214 parts, and it will be 85 centimeters in length when it is built. On the long side there, I'll have to hold that up. You've got some pictures of you know, what you can expect when you're building. So there we have it. That is the just got to take the lid off now. That is the Corvette. Now we're going to flip down and we're going to have a look at the instruction manual quickly. Just quickly, Dave's Cave says it stands for shaft horsepower. Thank you for that. So it's the old style booklet still. I should have mentioned the kit was brought out in 1982 by Matchbox. In 1992, Revel took over, and they've had it ever since. There's been a couple of decal changes. Some new parts were added in 2012, which is this. I think it's this edition. And there were some changes made in 2018. I'm not sure whether that was new parts. I'll have to check up on that. So there we go. So anyway, as you can see, with there's so we've got 43 pages in total, 172 steps, 174 if you count painting and decaling. Let's get cracking. So usual stuff at the beginning, your symbols, you all know about that. The paint guide, which is not as big as I was expecting. Yes, there's quite a few there, but when you see some of Revel's smaller kits and the fact that they've got so many paints on them, and you can either paint this in the Snowberry or Campanula. So I've got to admit, I know everybody's done it, but I do like the Snowberry. This is obviously your sprue guide, and I would say there's a lot more plastic in there than that. It struck me as quite odd when I saw that. It didn't look a lot on there, but so we start off with the hull, putting the hull together, putting the stand on, decks on, you know, cabin walls and that, foredeck or whatever it's called, and then we go on, you know, doors, and it tells you that they might not fit very well, so you need to file the sides down and get a good fit. Never seen that put in before. And then we've got some gear in here for guns and things like that, so they obviously move. Lots of greeble bits that go on the top, and you've got two choices to make there between the ships. And then this is the front gun or the rear gun. I think it's the gun that sits on the deck at the front. Now in the Technics kit, I believe you can put a motor on this. So I haven't made up my mind whether I'm going to try and put the Airfix motor I've got on it. And then we're coming up to, I don't know if this is the bridge. Again, a lot more bits going on the side, and roof going on there. Another gun going in. Window shelves. All these have got to be. These got to be painted before they go on. Yeah, these have all got to be painted. I think the best way to do this is to break it down into sections. Sorry, it's the radar dish that's got the you can put a motor on. And this is where this all comes in here. You got the radar. I'm assuming that's the radar. A lot of work's got to go into this. I am really looking forward to this. This would be my first big project. The biggest project I've sort of had has been 1/32 and 1/24 planes. Now we've got some sort of string going on there, so guy lines of some sort, ladders, and then we've got them. Looks like one of the main masts there with a ladder going up. Funnels, life ring going in, lots and lots of bits going on. The decks. Yeah, there we go. More funnels. Got to keep an eye out for these little question marks, which are telling you, you either have it M or N. It refers to the colour. So obviously one is Snowberry and one would be the HMS Campanula. Now we've got the, very rarely see that sign. Is that clear parts? That symbol. Let me just double check. Oh no, it just means illustration of assembled parts. Alright, okay. And we've got these lifeboats that they'll have to all be painted up. The rope and everything around the edges on them. Some bigger lifeboats or fishing vessel, I don't know. Ladders. I am hoping to light this up in some way. And there we go. And then we've got some crew to put on the decks and round about the ship. And then at the back we've got a decal guide. There's not that many decals, to be honest, and a paint guide of sorts. So only a brief look through, but it gives you an idea of what's involved. Yes, Dave, you are going to have to show me some ship terms. So now we come to the plastic. So let me just get these right. So these are the ship halves. This is the front, and obviously this is the back. You get an idea of how big this kit is when you look at these. I felt that, I don't know nothing about ships, obviously, but these felt a bit overdone. A bit too big. I've looked at some pictures and that, and they just felt a bit too big there. And then I did go on to read that certain other people said there was something wrong with the scaling on the hull, but I don't think it's not a big issue. The detail that's there is nice. There's nothing wrong with it in that respect. The little tiny tabs that you get that help you pin into these spots here, they're quite big on this. They're more like, they are quite big. You can see them sticking out there. They're not tiny little. So just to try and give you an idea. Let me see if I can get this. That one on there. That one on there. And you're sort of looking roughly like that. It's a massive kit, and that's just the front. That's the front. Pop that down, and then you've got the back, which is pretty much, you know, we're talking the same sort of detailing. There's nothing nothing extravagant about it. It's basic. It does the job. You know, there's no need for any extreme detailing on here because it's just a ship hull. You're going to have your port windows or whatever they're called. And once you've painted it and got everything sorted on, it's going to look really nice. That blue, that pale blue and white, it's going to look beautiful when it's done. So, you know, if you add the two together, you're looking, yeah, it's a big beast. A big beast. So, we come to the plastic. Now, I don't think I'm going to go through all of it because of the time. Let's see how we go. What are we at the moment? I've got a hangout to do. So those that normally come in my hangout, it's still going ahead. It will be straight after this. I'm just needed to get this done. So first of all, we come out, and the thing I like, normally all the ships I've bought have been very old. When I say old, sort of late 60s, early 70s, and never had dreadful flash on them. It's nice to see I finally got a kit that doesn't have loads and loads of flash on. In fact, there's hardly any at all. The plastic looks quite thick on there. I'm looking at the back side of the pieces, and it's nice to see that they're all numbered. So if they come away, each one's got a number apart from the sort of stuff like this. Now, I can tell you there is residue on these. I can see it on the I don't know whether you'll pick it up on the camera or not. Let me bring that up a bit. I don't know whether you're going to see it. No, you're not going to see it, but there's residue on them, so these may well require a little wash. I don't normally wash my sprues unless I see, yeah, it's quite bad on them. I just can't get it to show up on the camera. No, it's right. So detail again. There's not a lot of detail on any of these because it's just there's a few hinges in that there, but let's get that back in. Come on. I should have done this before. I don't know if there's even any point putting them back in the plastic. Then we come to a darker shade plastic. There's various different items in there. I'm not going to take these out because you can see them quite well. There's nothing really to. We've got a couple of doors on there. That's about as extensive as the detail goes on those. And then we've got some detail on this section here. I'm not sure what it is, but it's yeah, it's sort of like a load of raised dots. Then we've got a couple of funnels. We turn it over. This is all the underside. It looks like they've put everything one way. Now that has a curve in it. I don't know whether that's meant to be there or not. I won't know till I go to put it on, but there's a definite curve. You're going to see it because of the bag. I don't really want to take it out of the bag. There's a definite curve there, but we'll leave that one now. Then we've got another one with some much smaller pieces. We've got our characters. Let's have a look at the characters because we'll see how well the detail is on those. It's a 1/72nd kit, so even though the kit is huge, these characters will be small. Oh, come on. Totally missed the opening on the bag. So just look at the one side, you get a good enough idea. Detail is very soft on the figures. There's a bit of flash on the hands. He's not too bad there, the guy at the end, but he does have a pin mark through his. So the detailing is quite soft. Come on. There we go. But as I say, they're 1/72nd scale. The guys at the end are probably these two at the end are the better ones, apart from that hole in the stomach there. I suppose you could say he'd been shot. Is it going to? Yeah, he's got. It's not too bad on that. So yeah, I think the problem is, well, it's not a problem with this kit. The detail that you would normally see on a panel. So let me get a panel out. So you get these panels, and whereas normally with normal kits you get all this molded detail on the walls. Well, I think with one of these ships, the molded detail is what you're putting on. So the walls and that look featureless and bare because you've got to come along and add all that detail which normally would be molded in. I think that's a really fresh idea. Well, it's not, it's an old idea, but I've never come across it before. The detail on the lifeboats there is really good. It's really nice. The detail on the rope is stunning. They've got that nailed down. There we go. That looks great. And you know, there's everything else there. And then you've got all these panels that make up the different areas of the ship, you've got to add the detail, funneling, piping, all got to be added to it. If the ship came with all the stuff molded on, then you would not, there would be hardly any pages for building. That's just my thought. Now we've got the depth charges. They look like they're going to be a blast. Wow, and some ladders. Wow, they're in two halves. Each one of them's got to be glued together, which is not a problem. It's the removing of the seam line that I'm not looking forward to. Have to rig up some sort of device, maybe figure out a way of sticking each one on my Dremel drill. But yeah, it's all part of there's the main mast. This is the main mast just here. And there we've got the propeller. I'm guessing there's probably two. So that probably means this is a match. There's going to be another sprue. Here we've got some clear sections. Let's have a look at these. The stand actually is clear. I will probably keep it clear if I can keep it. It's broken off in there, but I've got to say it looks okay. The smaller stuff's not great. It's okay to look at from this sort of level. I may try and polish a lot of these up if I can. So they've given you nameplates for HMS Saucy, Snowberry and Bluebell. Yet the magazines, the instruction manual says Campanula and Snowberry. Well, that's interesting. Where it says made in, they've etched out the name. They've scrubbed it out. See that? I wonder why they've done that. Oh, come on. I wonder if we can see it from the back. No, they made a good job of that. I wonder if that said made in England. Not bad though. Not brilliant, but at that scale, it's not a problem. I'm not sure what the big rods are for, if they're there for a reason or not. Okay, carrying on. We've got some more light grey plastic. Should we take a look at this one? No, there's nothing really much to see. Funnels, maybe some sort of handrails, I don't know, go along the side. This is obviously a rudder for the back. And this is a rudder too. So yeah, there's we've got a couple of life rings there. One that's solid in the middle, that might need cutting out, but we'll wait and see on the instructions. I don't want to take this out of the bag with these little, because they're quite fragile. They start breaking off. We've already got a piece broke off in there. And then on the back, there's nothing, you know, nothing really to see there. Again, they're numbered, so that's great. Then we come to some brown plastic, and these are obviously the deck areas and areas that they want to look like wood, as they've done in this brown plastic. So I think the intent is that you could build this up without painting it. Again, they've gone round and they've rubbed out any where it says made in there. They've been and rubbed that out again. Wherever there's a sign of made in, they've been over it with a little grinding pencil and took the name away. I'd love to know why they've done that. I wouldn't have thought it really mattered. More grey plastic. Again, no features, but as I say, these are the features. So these are the little features that you look at on your other kits. Then we've got the main decks. We'll have a look at these. And we've got some nice represented wood for the deck, pardon me. Yeah, fairly well done. And then there's the other part there, which is good. But we have the platinum edition, and I'll show you what that means in a minute. Put that to one side. Then we've got, we need to look at these. So we've got some flags. Now I don't think, I'm going to make sure I get, oh, this doesn't need, now it feels like paper, but I'm told when you've got to dampen this and then fold it over, and it's a bit, you know, it's got more of a fabric feel to it. I don't know. To me, it looks like plain paper, but we'll see. Cut out, dampen, and fold over rigging. Yeah, I've used these before and I didn't like it, but we'll see. We just got to print out safety notice there, and then the decal sheet. It's not a very big decal sheet because there's not a lot of decals on ships. K166, K18, yeah, 2012, printed in Italy, flower class Corvette. And then we've got some rigging. I don't know if I'll use that. That's just cotton in it. I might need some proper rigging for that, which I've got some, but I think I'll just get some new stuff. I think mine might have got a bit of glue on it, which I don't really want. Now this was in there. This film, I'm not going to throw that out because that might be relevant. It seems an odd thing to put in a bag if there was no use for it. Oh, here we go. Right, then we come to the platinum part of the kit. So some of the extras you get this chain, black chain, it's like a black mat. Quite long, I guess it's about 30 centimeters when it's fully opened. And you get the various gun barrels. Obviously the big barrel at the gun at the front. I don't know where that big one goes there. I think maybe some of these are masts as well. Brass masts. Yeah, so you got some nice yeah, there's definitely some masts in there and other bits and pieces. And of course, you get a huge chunk of PE. So we'll have a quick look at that, if I can get it out without bending it too much. Now then, there may be more than one sheet in there. I'm not certain. It feels quite heavy, is the first thing I notice. It's quite heavy. Yeah, it's very thick. Is that one sheet or two? No, that's just one sheet. It's really quite thick. And now this is very nicely detailed. We've got some doors there. If it focus in. Nice detail on a lot of these parts. Railings there by the looks of it. Portholes to go on the outside of the hull, those little holes. So again, this is a lot of the detail that you would normally be molded into the hull. This time you're going to put it on with photo etch. And then you've got the wooden deck. Which is laser cut. Let me just put that back in there so that it doesn't get damaged or caught on anything. Beautiful bit of photo etch. That really is quite heavy. I've never, normally photo etch is quite light, but then I've never had a sheet that big. Hopefully it's a bit more resilient than some of the stuff I've worked with lately, which has been really quite poor. And these are the, now they say they're real wooden decks, but it's just a laminate backed, very thin wood, very thin paper. That yeah, it's very good. It does resemble, well, I guess it is wood. And it's all laser cut. You just pop them out, and then you've got this adhesive backing on the back that you just peel off and stick it down, I guess. Unless you put glue on this. So does it peel off? I don't know, I'd have to look at the instructions. And you've got 1, 2, 3 pieces of that to put all over the ship. Now the instruction manuals don't tell you when to put this on, but fear not, because there is another sheet you get given with the kit. Which we're going to look at now. And that's this one. And that gives you a layout of your, that tells you everything you should get with your premium edition or platinum edition. It tells you there. Yeah, it just tells you there, gives you, so you can check everything off. That's representation of your photo etch, which is very good. They are self-adhesive, says there. And there are your decks, and then on the back or inside, it's meant to be like that, but on the back you have. Now it doesn't exactly tell you. You've just got to judge yourself, really. So you know, when it comes to that M58 part, M58, you know that you've got to put them PE parts on. A lot of PE goes on the gun, around the portholes. Sorry. That's like a handrail. Lots of PE all over the place. So yeah, it's yeah, that could be a bit clearer. That's not very clear where, you know, where it goes. You're gonna I would suggest having that somewhere you can see it alongside with your instructions, so that you just keep a constant eye. I'll have to clip it up on my shelf there, I think. But there we go. So that is the HMS, well, the Snowberry I'm doing, and it's the Flower Class Corvette. I hope you've enjoyed the review. It has been, you know, I've changed it a lot. I haven't gone as in depth as I normally would with the plastic parts, but there wasn't really that much to see in terms of detail. But it's going to be, I think it's going to be a great build. I'm going to really enjoy it. I'm not going to do it as a video build per se. I shall be doing video updates. There'll be regular updates on progress I've made. I may do the odd 1 or 2 here and there if I'm doing something that I think might be interesting. I may do that live. But I really want to enjoy building this kit, and I think if I turn it into a video build, it's going to ruin the enjoyment and ruin the build. So, you know, I'd rather stick with the updates and just build as and when. So anyway, thanks for watching. Now those of you that want to join the off-air hangout, I will be putting the link up in a few minutes. If you can't wait a few minutes, it's the same link it was last night. You just need to click that. It'll bring you to the same place. And that's about it from me. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time when we do something else, something different. Maybe the electronics will be coming up. So much the reveal of the Spitfires pretty much round the corner, and so much. I'm looking forward to this year. So bye for now. See you soon.